Yo, what's going on today, YouTube? Today we are talking Vanguard ARs. And the reason we're talking that is because I finally finished leveling them. So I finished the SMGs like last week. It was pretty quick, it felt like. And then they got rid of double XP. And so ARs took a little bit longer than I was hoping to. And I finally got them leveled up. And I'm going to talk about and teach you guys about each one of these guns today and my prediction for them within Warzone. So if this does help you guys out at all, make sure you guys do drop a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel so you can find your way back when I actually get to test these and let you guys know how good these are. And then last but not least, guys, let me know your guys' predictions. I would love to know your guys' predictions because I actually really enjoy these ARs. They're very solid in Vanguard, and I think they're going to be very solid going into Warzone. So let's jump into it. Alrighty, guys. So we have 7 ARs today. 7 of them, and honestly, there wasn't one that I didn't like. So that's a great thing. Like, I actually liked every one of these ARs, and they're very different per AR, except for like 2 of them are pretty similar. But other than that, they were all very different ARs. They're gonna have different play styles within Warzone, and I'm just gonna go from top to bottom here and kind of tell you guys about each one of them. We're not gonna do any builds of the guns today like we did on the SMGs, because SMGs are a little bit easier to predict, but there's just like, just look at this, guys. There is so many attachments to add to these guns that I have no idea what they're gonna do. You're gonna give us 10 attachments, but I have no idea what they're gonna be doing to like make these like balanced. Like, there's so many things that are broken right now. Like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna give us Vital? There's no way they give us Vital in Warzone, right? Like, that thing is absolutely broken. So we're not gonna talk about builds. We're just gonna talk about each gun and what I think they're gonna be doing. So the STG-44, as of right now in Warzone, it's not very good. We know that because there is a blueprint in Warzone and the recoil is pretty bad. But with the different, which I will say, that was a pretty bad gun until I got to like max level. And there's like no recoil on the build that I have on it. So it definitely could be pretty good, especially if you let us add like Vital and stuff like that. The multipliers were crazy within the multiplayer, but in Vanguard, it just seems like the headshot multiplier is really good on the STG. So I'm guessing it's going to be like a middle of the way weapon, and if you can sneak a couple headshots in, it might be like absolutely broken. Like, it might be a prediction of like kind of like where the AMAX was at one point, where like the really good players were dominating with it and like the lower level players weren't really liking it that much. So I do think it's going to be probably like a or B tier weapon, somewhere around that range. Nothing bad, but nothing great. Which, honestly, I like the feel of all these ARs, so I don't think any of these are going to be ranked too bad, other than maybe one. The Automaton, the automation, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Automaton because I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's basically your M13. It's got a very high fire rate and has 0 recoil. Absolutely negative recoil. And the way you build it out is you build it to as minimal recoil as possible, and then it just really comes down to what kind of multipliers are going to give us, because there's 3 ARs with very high fire rates in this game, and I'm really interested to see what the difference is going to be when they bring them into Warzone, because obviously you don't want them all to be performing about the same from the history of what they've done in Warzone. So it'll be interesting. I'm assuming there's going to be like no multipliers on this gun, kind of like the M13, because if they give it multipliers, it's going to be absolutely broken. So watch out for that. If not, it's going to be like a B, A tier weapon where it's good but not broken. The burst rifle here is going to be it actually feels really good. It feels exactly like the M16 from like Call of Duty 4, or if you want to go Modern Warfare, it's pretty similar to that. Just because like the fire rate's similar and a couple other things, but realistically, it has a one burst potential in multiplayer. So it might be broken. We know how the history of Warzone and burst weapons are. They're either really bad or absolutely busted with the AUG and M16 meta we went through. So I don't know where they're gonna. It's really just going to come down to the multipliers. I'm going to say that multiple times in this video, but if they make, it's either going to be broken or trash. 100% on this gun. There's no in between. So we'll see. The bar. This is going to be like your Odin. It's slow fire rate. Very slow fire rate. Recoil, you can build to be pretty like consistently no recoil builds. You can do it with all these because you have 10 attachments, and they did say we do get to use all 10 attachments. So we'll see what we end up getting to use actually. But if you hit your headshots with this gun in multiplayer, it is crazy. And I am interested to see what they do with this gun in Vanguard. Historically, low fire rate weapons don't do very well, like at all. So I'm very interested to see where this actually ends up. I think that it could be either broken or horrible. Like, it might, like, I guess the Odin's like kind of middle of the way. Like, you can have fun with it every once in a while if you want to, but I don't think that it's going to be for everyone. You have to be on your game, hitting your shots, especially headshots, to get that really fast time to kill. And just thinking of this now, a lot of these guns don't have a great, like, magazine. Not like 45 is usually the biggest on most of them. There's a couple of 60 rounds, and that's about it. The 60 round mag is like ginormous too, so it makes it really clunky. So I think the biggest on that one's 30 actually. So we'll see what ends up happening. I don't know that it's going to be absolutely great. All right, you guys. So the AS44. The AS44 is another gun where instantly goes in my head, high fire rate, but has a little bit more recoil than like the Automaton. So it reminds me of something like the FFAR or the FAR, whatever you want to call it, where it could be absolutely broken as like a sniper support or like potentially a main AR or a secondary. So we don't know where it's going to lie yet, but it might get some better multipliers than like the Automaton, which could make it absolutely broken. So I'm expecting that gun to go either S or A tier on like a sniper support, and then like a B or A tier mattering on the multipliers as like a main AR / like secondary. So I'm interested. I'm very interested on that one. That is one of the more interesting ones, I will say. I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing with that multiplier. The NZ41, though, is another kind of bar situation here, but the bar feels like it feels smoother. The NZ41 felt a little clunky, but if you guys checked out my Vanguard gameplay of this, the final build that I actually had for this gun felt phenomenal. And I think it might actually end up being broken in Warzone. It gives me major EM2 vibes. Not the fastest fire rate in the game, but if they give it crazy multipliers like the EM2, you can pretty much get it like a pretty controllable recoil, and I think that it might end up being broken. Like, I think that's going ARS tier 100%. And a lot of people are going to be like, it feels so bad, blah, blah, blah. Get to level 70, and I'm telling you, this thing smacks in multiplayer. So I'm scared of this gun. Very scared. The Volk is last but not least. But the thing about the Volk today, guys, it's another very high fire rate weapon. But it has even less recoil than, it's like an in between the AS44 and the Automaton. It's like an in between of both of those. So it's either going to be really strong or really weak again, and it could be a sniper support or it could be a main AR. We'll just have to see what the multipliers end up being and what they end up wanting to do with these weapons. But none of these weapons, when you got them to max weapon, like, you have so many attachments you can make on these guns that there's not a bad AR. Like, especially with how fast the time to kill is in multiplayer, like, there's not a bad one out of any of these. So I think every single one of these ARs is going to be very competitive at the end of the day, and mattering on those multipliers. I wonder if they're going to give some of these guns bigger magazines, because some of them only have 30 round magazines, which is going to be devastating in Warzone. As we know, everyone wants either a 45, 50 or 60 round mag to compete with the other weapons. So I'm kind of like, I have like a weird thought in my head where I think they're gonna actually nerf and like get rid of some like 60 round mag sizes on some guns just to like change the game style up. But we'll see what ends up happening, guys. I'm super pumped up for Warzone Pacific. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. The changes they're already making are good. I really hope they don't make like stupid broken weapons off the bat. If you guys remember in the Cold War integration, they're actually really bad to start. So fingers crossed that they're just like average weapons to start, and then from there they kind of like figure it out. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of each of these ARs. I'm really, really excited, and the play styles of these are going to be completely dependent on those multipliers. So we'll be waiting to see what those patch notes say right away on December 8th or December 7th when they're going to drop those patch notes, and I'm super excited, guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much if you guys made it this far in the video. Reminders to drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel to find your way back, and I love you guys. Have a good rest of your day, and peace out.